Okay,
No
so
problem. You run the show.
thank you, guys. Thank you for dialing in. Let me see. This is the agenda for today. We have the same overall layout, general information about the section at the beginning, then some organizational matters. At the end, we have a summary of the upcoming events, and at the end, a few minutes to conclude. So this is the latest graphs. These are the latest graphs from SPE's website. This is end of September. So you can see that for the professional members, we're pretty much flat. It may go up another 40, 50, 60 people, something like this by the end of the year. So essentially flat, but the student population is up almost 40% compared to last year, which is very encouraging. We just need to stay focused and deliver content and activities to keep the interest up. And I think there is an opportunity there to increase the participation of professional members as well as to keep this momentum for students. Nothing really else to mention here. I'll keep monitoring this and report. Then on the financial side, Robert couldn't make it today. He had some other commitment, but I think Sam, who is helping Robert, is prepared to give us an update. Sam?
Sure. Yeah. Hey, good morning, everyone. Robert couldn't make it due to some family emergencies, but as you can see on the slide that Dimitrios is sharing, we didn't have a whole lot happening that happened between August 11th and October 9th. We did like pay for the accommodation of TU Clarkson University for the Drill Baltics travel, and then for the Turkey Burg website as well. Apart from that, the big ticket item on that list would be the fees for David Gibson for the Drill Baltics documentary. I think that was like 6,500. And the question that Robert had was, there was an email chain that was circulated in regards to approving that fees, but he was not 100% sure if the board approved it or not. But
we have 19 votes now, 19 yes votes, with the threshold being 18. So yes, we have the approval for this payment.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, I'll let Robert know on that. Sorry?
Yeah, Demetrius, I think that the vote is a nice to have because these were funds that were raised by Drillbotics to be used for that purpose.
Yes.
And so it's under Drillbotics as opposed to under DSATS. So it's a good thing to get support for it, but I don't think according to the Constitution it was totally necessary.
Yeah.
They were actually raised by David.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, so raised by him. Another expense over here that was interesting to me was the conference in India, the ICPHD conference. I think it was brought to our attention by Binit Tripathi. So we sponsored half of the booth there. That was that $300 that you see on that.
I can give a bit more information on that, Sam. So this is our Asia chair is helping organize this conference. It's organized by the Department of Chemical Engineering in the local university over there in Guwahati, which is in northeast India. Beautiful location. So it's November 3 to 5. It's about decarbonization and hydrogen. And they asked DSATS to have a booth beneath, basically draw all this and see how as drilling systems automation, what is any relation, any overlap with this work. And the Calvin Hall and drill docks cover the other half of the sponsorship. So between DSATS and Calvin, we cover the fee for having a booth over there. And the idea is to establish a footprint as much as we can and raise awareness about DSATS and a young population, new, let's say, university. I think it's an opportunity if people start. I mean, if they know DSATS, what we are doing, who we are, what is the domain and attract potentially more students, more new talent. I think we're going to end up giving a presentation, an overview, a 10-15-minute overview of DSATS during this conference. And in the next call, I'll let you know how that went. But all in all, I think BNIT is a good initiative to expose, DSATS in that part of the world.
Yeah, I think that's really good to increase the footprint outside the US for sure for DSATS. Apart from all those items on the list, we are currently like sitting at 94,000 for the month of October. One last item before I close is the PayPal account. I believe John McPherson, he was able to like figure out the password and he should be able to like close the account. But I think Robert didn't have the time to like set a meeting with him and finish up that. But that's like on Robert's list as well. So we have $5,000 in that PayPal account. Once we close it, should be transferred to our account. And that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Yeah. On that, I said, Robert, if he just sends me the account information where to transfer the money, I can do that and I can close it out. I'd really, after 8 years, I think it'd be nice to get my name off of that. There are also tax implications for that, so I really would like to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Robert. I'll let Robert know. Thank you, John.
Okay.
All right. So next, few updates on the organization and the activities that are going on. So first one, Tony Pink is taking a new role. He's leaving, actually, I think this Friday, maybe is his last day with NOV. And he's going more into geothermal, I understand. And he sent a message saying that he will not be able to continue as a director, effective immediately. And so where that leaves us, the next annual election is March of 2024, which is 6 months away, basically. However, the Constitution has a provision for this scenario, and that is any vacancy can be filled by appointment and then approval from the board of directors. I think so. In my opinion, 6 months is a long time to go without having a full board. So I think it's worth filling that role for the 6 months, and then maybe that same person can continue at the election cycle when the cycle comes up, or someone else can be elected at that point or approved at that point. So that's an action item for all of us, and I'd like to invite here nominations, informal, from all of you, or bring yourself forward if someone is interested. And so we fill that role, and we don't have to do it right in this call, but by email, let's coordinate, and then we're going to have a proper vote for approval. Maury and Edgar can set it up on the website and fill that position. Any questions or comments about this before we move on? Okay.
Probably nice to get somebody from Europe, I would think.
It would. We have Serafima for now. No, I'm sorry. It's not a board of directors. It's an officer. Sorry. Yeah. Maybe David Curry. Or let's think who can nominate from there before we approach them. It would be good to have someone from Europe for sure. Okay. All right. So the next one, update from the different activities, the different initiatives. So the main one, I think, was the WIS, the most active initiative right now. And last month, there was the demo that we have been talking about for the last few months on September 19. It was successful. It went very well overall. There is a recording that Eric has made available. If you need team access to access the recording, you can contact Eric. The link that is here, the presentation will become available on the website. So if someone is interested to visit that recording, the link is here. You will see it. There were different objectives in the demo, and Eric actually ended up walking us through the demo 3 times to cover it from different angles. So one was to demonstrate the ability to of several advisors to work together and provide input and consume data and provide data that is readable, that is understandable by others, by the others. Also to use the interfaces that we have developed in other work streams, hoist, rotate, circulate, downlink, etc. And overall, this is a step in the way. It's not an end, it's a step that showed, the progress and the feasibility of all this effort. But also brings up, questions and how to coordinate with ADCS vendors and how to make this, to convert it from a demo or a small scale prototype concept, proof of concept, to something that can be scaled up and take it to the next level. And along those lines, it's very interesting to see that some ADCS vendors became interested. So all in all, I thought it was an excellent step forward. I'd like to invite Eric if he has any comments to add or any thoughts the way forward.
Yes, thank you, Dimitrios. So since the demo, I've been active to approach one ADCS vendor, and I've got today the answer that they are positive actually, so that we use their solution to make a bridge between Davis and their solution. So no, we need. So it doesn't say that everything is in the box. We need to work out terms and conditions for doing this. But I think there are some good chances actually that we can carry on and develop a bridge between Davis and this particular vendor.
Excellent. Thank you, Eric. Let me see. I have here some more comments. Yeah. So I kind of jumped the gun a little bit. So yes, the point that Eric mentioned that we have some interest now from additional members, but more than a specific NDCS vendor, I think we can use this momentum that the success of this demo created to attract more interest, more parties to the discussion and potentially more investment or more people to put skin in the game in terms of time or even funding to continue with some of this work. So this is open topic. We don't have really any concrete steps here, but I think we need to take advantage of this interest that was created. Yeah.
Just really quickly, if you all have the chance, really go and listen to the recording. It's quite long, but it's really interesting, and also it becomes really apparent if you're working in DWIS, the amount of work that Eric and Benoit Norse put into this is absolutely incredible. Trying to condense a lot of cats into one box for the demo. It really is worthwhile listening to, and it really shows the way that things are going.
I think that's listening to the demo, it creates a lot of ideas, a lot of triggers in someone's mind. What can be done? How we can use this? How we can take advantage of this? I think it opens a lot of doors for efficiency and for adding functionality that today is not possible. So I think we need to steer that and keep it going. So along those same lines, Matt and the group, the advisory board group, have been working on drafting a position paper for the business benefits of interoperability, which is really why we're doing what we're doing with on DWIS side. There is the work streams are focusing more on the implementation, on how to do it. What are the technical steps? But what is missing, kind of, is the driver behind it, which is really what will bring in the investment and the interest from operators or contractors. So Matt and Michael and a few more people have been working on putting together a position paper with the business benefits of interoperability, which I think maybe is a little bit the cart before the horse. but it's never late to have that. And this is going on as we speak. The target is the drilling conference next year. And I think that has the potential to become another milestone paper.
Yeah. Hey, Demetrios, their paper's been accepted. It's listed in the conference. They must be almost done on their draft right now. So it is in the conference.
Is due
they're about 20% of the way through the draft.
Yeah.
So there's no problem. There's at least a few hundred hours still to go before it's due.
But, I mean, it's very important. It's a very important paper, in my opinion. We just need to focus and get it, push it through the gate. So, relative to all this work, there are other initiatives that are going on. And I'm going to mention the SMART initiative that Nathan Gennaro and Mark and Nick started during the summer. There is some connection between all this, you know, how to take data from a well plan, a drilling plan, whether it's a PDF or it's a Word document or whatever it is, and somehow make it readable to ADCS systems for execution purposes, for planning purposes. Now, there is no single solution that will fit to all markets and all applications. Having the big view, you know, like the World Data, the Well Data Foundation, the WDF, and trying to build something, a framework that covers all scenarios, or coming from the opposite angle, where you start from the ground up and you try to have something quick and dirty that meets an immediate business need. I think there is space for both of them, for both approaches. And that's what we are seeing here, you know, with the SMART project, which used to be called STUPID, if you remember. And, you know, some of the other initiatives trying to capture contextual data and make it available, you know, in a more systematic form for everybody else to use. And we have to pursue both options and see where the two meet. And maybe one applies in some market, the other one applies in a different market. But at the end, the needs, there is a wide range of needs, and it's going to be a wide range of solutions. The common element between all those things is really DSATS, which is the community that enables this dialogue. So I'm happy to see this going on, and we just need to encourage it and invite more people coming in and coordinate, of course, so we don't step over each other.
So if I may add to that,
yeah,
Mark's project triggered something with me as well, because I've been vocal about it, that the work we do is nice, but we have to go one layer deeper. In essence, because otherwise we have nice little products, but we're still in the proprietary realm of how does the communication actually is done.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing now is making a framework, and most likely it will be a demonstrator model as well, using standard internet protocols, HTTP, HTTPS, REST APIs, and all that, and a set of rules. So you get an open ecosystem of stuff that communicates with each other with a standard message format, which is, by the way, just what the standard of internet uses. And where basically you can hook on the equipment and basically it starts communicating, it registers itself, la, 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 la. The interesting thing is, if you do that, it's not rocket science, by the way, then you do the same as Mark wanted to do, is you're using the standard tools that are there for the internet to develop applications and protocols. There's about a zillion, no, a little bit less, I think, but products there to create those APIs, to create those software layers that are there for you can call any guy from Amazon or Google and say, hey, I have a REST API, can you write me an app for that? Yeah, that's fine, we can do that. So to open up that world and get away from the proprietary stuff that we're now dealing with, the nice thing is, in order for that to work, and that is that the semantics will be very important.
Yeah.
In this, well, the core of it is that data is only there on request. Nothing sends out data by itself. And in order to do that, other applications need to know what data is available.
Yeah.
And in order to know that, you need semantics. You need to know what the other has in store for you in a standardized, searchable way.
Yeah.
So it comes together nicely. I mean, certainly all the work that everybody's doing, it finds its place in terms of that.
Robert, is that at a state where you could share it in the next community call?
Maybe.
I mean, that will be November 9, so almost a month away. If it is, let's say, mature enough, it doesn't have to be complete, but at least to expose and see how much interest we get, so much buy-in. Or it's up to you, really, if you want to wait until the next one in January.
No, I think the framework is probably ready by then. If I have a working demo model, that is depending on my private time to set stuff up.
Let's keep in touch, and maybe we have an opportunity in 3-4 weeks time to dedicate a little bit more time, not 2 minutes, and present, and see how it overlaps with some of the other ones and how they all come together,
Yeah. Let me see if I can set something up. But the interesting fact from as a closing market, I have to hop off the call soon. Yeah. But is that if you do that, the difference between the office and the rig falls away. Yeah. Everybody is treated exactly the same on the network, whether you are in the office, whether you are on the floating rig, whether you're in space, as long as you can reach certain IP addresses for the system, it doesn't matter anymore. And I think that is a really good thing to have in the future, where those boundaries are beginning to be very blurred.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. Very good. Thank you for letting us know, Robert.
Yep. Okay. Thank you very much, gentlemen and ladies.
Thank you. All right. So let's go to the next.
Demetrios.
Yes, Mark.
Yeah, if I could just say just a couple things about the project, what I learned.
Yeah.
And that is going and working on a prototype rather than having a bunch of people talk about what could be is very valuable.
Yeah.
And then, and then the second thing, let's see, how do I want to say this? We limited it to only a few people who are actually participating. So what happens in a bunch of these who make comments, but who are not really contributing to going forward. And then maybe the third thing is, 5 years from now, if anyone looks back at the stupid project, no one will be able to recognize anything about what's going on in the world except the definitions. So I think what we did is we spent a lot of time, John McPherson helped us a lot. We iterated back and forth on particular definitions, and I think that those are the things that really will have some lasting power.
Yeah.
Because if you don't define things, then you'll find out later on that three people will have three different ideas about what they're trying to do, and then you end up wasting time. So I think definitions are very important, and people don't tend to put the time in that they need from them.
Yeah. Yes, good points. Thank you, Mark. Thank you. All right, so let's continue then the next activity, which is the verification and validation initiative. And Rodica is here to give us an update on this work.
Thank you, Demetrios. And just going forward from the comment from Mark, actually, we are very much into the definition part in this subcommittee, because we are currently doing a state-of-the-art for definition for verification validation also in other domains. And we want to identify the specific needs which we need to address for the drilling domain. So I agree, definitions are very important. So we are going forward in the verification and validation subcommittee. We still have our tri-weekly meetings on Wednesdays. I had to move the next meeting 1 week because there was the conflict with the SPE-ATCE. So thank you, Fred, for reminding on that. And then we are still focusing on the interplay of the different automated components. We are still looking at the consistency of the data and feature, which is very important because we don't, so the plan is not to address the, verification and validation for sensor, for instance, and so on. So I also filled in on the DSATS website some of the ideas that we are discussing in the group, just for people to be able to read if they want. So we are currently exploring synergies with the work done in different AI systems, and we have good discussions, very engaged people in the group on questions relevant for what is needed for validation and verification in a dynamic, complex system. So for instance, what is the minimum information required that should be provided for us to be able to do the verification and validation? Is there a need for dynamic requirements? How about context-based analysis? And for this, just to point out, I put here on the right this validation triangle. This is a technique used in some complex systems in open context, meaning that you have also complex environment. And this brings us also to the current work on defining what autonomous is. So here is what we are trying to see. How can we define validation and verification, and what are the needs that we need to cover? So it's a loop. And just to show you what we are currently discussing, because we are discussing some cases. If you take the next slide, please, Demetrios, just to yeah. We are considering, we are starting from the cases which were considered also in Davis, because people, most of the people in this subcommittee are familiar with that. But we are going, when it comes to what information is needed for verification and validation, is we are discussing both input data, but also require features. So let's say if you have several advisors brought together into a complex system. So we ask ourselves if we want to say we want to validate the system, we want to verify the system, what kind of information we need about the different advisors, what kind of dependencies we need to be exposed so that we can perform verification and validation. So this is just as an example. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Yeah, complex topic, and it's interesting to try to break it down and put it in a format that everybody can follow the discussion and allow, you know, this work to be done, or to define how the work should be done. Like Rodica said, the group is very small. We cannot really do the verification and validation, but we can define, you know, the framework, or propose a framework that can be used for doing this work elsewhere.
Yes, and in that line, I forgot to mention, but we are also trying, since we are a small group, we are trying to attract people to have some presentations and webinars on the different methods for verification and validation. And we have one from the team who is considering doing a webinar at some point on STEM methodology, and maybe we will continue with some for instance, from complex AI systems and so on.
Yeah, I look forward to that STEM presentation. I think that's going to be interesting for many of us. Okay, thank you, Rodica. Any questions from anyone? Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. So the next one, the update on the robotics. So like we discussed earlier, we have now the votes for this payment, even though maybe it was not absolutely necessary, but we're in good shape with that. On the competition itself, it should read 23-24, the title. Apologies for that. So Fred and Sasi have released the guidelines. The registration was the end of this week. We have 3 teams so far, and we're going to try to attract some more. So we're extending that by a couple of weeks. The paper that is going to be presented, the joint paper by the 2 universities that were the winners of last year, the draft is due next week, and we're planning to bring them to the conference. So we'll need to cover some expenses there. And Fred is active, trying to attract some sponsorships. And if anyone wants to be a judge or participate in the next cycle, please feel free to reach out, Fred and Sassy. There is some new, I'm not sure who the 3 universities are, but there is some interest from South America with Nestor, Argentina, and maybe we can get a few more new universities from, I don't know if India will be one, or but non-traditional, let's say, markets or areas. So let's see how that goes. It's going to be interesting to bring in some new talent. That's it.
One of the three that registered is from Wyoming, and the professor who's leading it was with the West Virginia team in 2016.
Okay. Is it the same one, the same university where Nick was from, Fred, by any chance? Nick Brown?
I don't know. It may be. I'll check.
Yeah,
Okay.
University of Wyoming, right?
Say again, Sam?
If it's University of Wyoming, he goes to University of Wyoming.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Maybe, I mean, if it is the same, maybe we can use that connection somehow to advertise and attract students, etc. Anyway, okay, so that's it for the robotics. Next, the next one is a proposal. It's not a approved activity yet. It's about the human factors engineering for drilling systems. I think the first half of the slide has been the same for the last couple of meetings. And this is a proposal that is on the table. We had an attempt to do with an external consultant from the from the ergonomics, human engineering and ergonomics society, something like this, which fell through because it was very expensive and we didn't have the funds. We still don't have the funds. So we decided to pursue it jointly through IADC with the DCS group under the umbrella of IADC, since it affects mostly contractors, with DSATS supporting. There was an initial presentation to the art committee. The feedback was that we need to define better the deliverables. And that was maybe, I don't know, 3 months ago, something like this. I'm not sure. I don't think much has happened since. However, and here is the update. That topic came up during the art conference last month in Amsterdam, and there was a lot of interest in the room on human factors from very different angles. Not necessarily all of them aligned, but some of them thinking about the cultural perspective, people resisting change, new technology, or from the ergonomics, perspective, where we are overwhelming the people, the drillers, with screens and data, or other people are thinking about, awareness, situational awareness, and the operator being able to follow what's happening and interfere as needed. So it's a very broad topic, and but there is interest. There is interest, through different lenses from the industry. Now, Nathan Morales was the point man from DCS, but he's stepping down from that role. There is a new gentleman, Andy Westlake from Seadrill, taking over, and so this maybe is part of why things are moving slow. But hopefully this picks up pace again, and especially given the interest that we show. And this step of defining the deliverables will be completed so we can take it to the next level. So that's where we are on this. And Sasi couldn't make it for this call. He's traveling, but hopefully we have a bit more news, in the next call. Any questions or comments about this? Okay. All right. So then the next item I have on the agenda is another position paper that we're putting together following on autonomy. If you remember a few calls ago, maybe 3 or 4 calls ago, John gave us a presentation about autonomy, how is that defined and how is that term used in other industries, what it is and what it is not. And the idea was that we can use the DSATS platform to provide some guidance and some definitions. So the industry is not all over the place, and we don't have marketing communications that arbitrarily use the term and create confusion, and everybody has his own definition about what autonomy is, you know. So there is a position paper that John and the team are putting together, targeting the drilling conference next year. And the main outcome is we're proposing a taxonomy there to help classify what are the characteristics of a system and what are the requirements, if you want, or the thresholds that it needs to exceed before it can be called autonomous. And that's something that hopefully is going to give some standardization or a more common use, so a more consistent use of the word. So we don't have, you know, marketing guys driving the discussion. Instead, we have a little bit more guidance and more clear definitions of what autonomous means. The draft is due next week, the final paper next month, and I think it's going to be one of those papers that is going to be referenced a lot going forward, because everywhere you look these days, you see the word autonomous. Not only in drilling, I should say drilling maybe is a latecomer, but in many fields, in many areas, many domains, people are using these words, and it very easily can create confusions. I don't know if there are any questions. If John maybe wants to have a comment here.
Yeah, I think you covered it. I think one of the key points is that we can't just adopt some of the other levels of automation taxonomy directly, because drilling and completion is a complex system of systems. And there are certain things we have, like complexity and uncertainty, which aren't necessarily present in those other systems. And right now, the paper's about 12,000 words, thanks to significant contribution by the authors, Eric and Radhika to put a lot in, and then John Mack, and it's still going around. Yes, we've got a paper that's ready to go in for the preliminary review this Monday, and then we'll have a tidy up and finalize, and I think it'll be a really good product with a very good message for the industry.
All right, very good. Thank you, John. So moving on, the last part of this call is events that we have coming up. So next week on Monday, we have our ATC, of course, is going on. We have our reception on Monday afternoon, 5 to 6. Greg and Austin have spent a lot of time putting it together, all the details, etc. Not sure if Austin is here, give us an update, but I don't see him. But the last update I saw, we have 92 tickets sold out of 100, and I'm sure that we're going to fill the 100 by Monday. It's going to be a full room, basically. We had a little bit of hiccup, if you want, when Tony decided that he would not be able to participate anymore because of his move, but we reached out to the geothermal technical section, Camilo, and he was able to come up with not only one, but with 2 SMEs that will come forward and fill in for Tony, coming from geothermal. And so we're going to have, the event is basically going ahead at full speed. We're going to have more than enough SMEs to network with the young professionals. If you remember, just a reminder, it's not a panel format. It's a very informal, casual discussion with stations distributed around the room with SMEs that will cover different topics and the guests being available every 10-15 minutes to rotate, going from station to station, and have the opportunity to ask questions and meet these individuals and meet each other and network. That's the format. So if you haven't bought your ticket and you are going to be in San Antonio, now is a good time to buy them. I look forward to that one.
Tell them it's not available at the door.
Yeah, not available at the door. That's important. It needs to be purchased in advance. $25, very nothing. The next event, we have a webinar spot on the last one for the year on November 16, and Paul Pastusek had recommended a few potential speakers. I reached out to all of them, and Kevin and Tom from NOV came forward, and they're going to give an update about the work that they are doing on clearing the floor, which means, mechanization at the rig, pipe connections and pipe handling and all this stuff, So it's going to be interesting. Of course, being SPE webinar we're gonna limit commercial talk, and it's going to be more technical, and so I think it's going to be interesting. That's it for as far as webinars are concerned. We don't have yet the spots for next year. They're going to come out anytime now. Robin is they're going through Robin, through the director. SPE changed a little bit the format. We're going to get 5 or 6 next year, every couple of months, essentially an event. As soon as we have them, we'll start looking for speakers, presenters for those one. I hope Robert can make the next community call. It sounded interesting what he proposed, but that's not listed here. It's a different date. It's the community call. That's it in terms of events going forward.
Yeah, hey, Demetrios,
yes.
Something that came to my mind when you're talking about webinars and things. The operators group on data quality are doing an enormous amount of work on WITS-ML, and they're working with the energistics people. A lot of it's beyond my technical comprehension, but they're doing a lot of work on it, and I think it would behoove us to invite Zoom, who leads it, and she fully understands it, to give a presentation on what they're doing and where they're going. They're linking with OSDU and energistics. They're making WITS-ML more usable. Adding metadata and things like this. So there's a lot going.
It's a good suggestion. Thank you for reading it up. I'll reach out to Zoom and ask her.
Okay.
Excellent. I see we have some more hands. Eric, go ahead, please.
Maury is first, I think.
Maury, I'm sorry.
You can go, Eric. It's fine.
Well, I just wanted to give a very brief update of the drilling data quality and certainty description subcommittee. So it's getting close to the end of this subcommittee, but we have one paper which will be presented next week at the SPE, which is about the analysis of the sources of uncertainty for geopressure estimation while drilling. And we are preparing the last paper for the SPE Drilling Conference 2024, and that is the role of semantic networks in mitigating risk during data exchange in multidisciplinary well construction. So just a brief update about
Thank you, Eric.
the final part.
Maury, I think you are next, and then Robert.
I think it's about time on we actually had some information on the website about some of these subcommittees and what they're doing. So I urge you to send to myself and Edgar just a short sheet, single document that says what you're doing, what your challenges are, what's the purpose, what's the status, and how to reach out and get involved with the team, so we can put something on the website other than all we have right now are just the charter documents. And you know, I think we need more than that so that people can engage. So the V&V group from
Rudiger.
seems to be picking up, so that would be a good one maybe. But any of the others, the DWISH initiatives, anything, it should be something that's specific to DSATS though, okay? Is my only sort of guidance on that.
Yeah,
But yeah, if you can get something.
Will help bring in some more people, you know. Yeah, that's a good suggestion. Excellent. Yeah. Robert?
I just wanted to mention with the progress towards clearing the floor with webinar.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've talked to Kevin and Tom, but that clearing the floor has also involved removing the driller's cabin from the floor as well.
Have it remote.
Yes, they have it. They have it off the rig floor. So it could be quite an interesting conversation to bring that into.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Okay, very good. So that's pretty much the end of the update for today. This is the same slide. I haven't changed anything other than the date. There are opportunities ahead. I mean, the one thing that kind of concern that I would bring up is the low level of engagement. We have the same people pretty much participating in most of the activities, and ideally, I would like to see a few more people, a little bit broader range of people coming in, and we don't see that, and we need to keep pushing in that direction. Of course, everybody is busy, everybody is traveling, but that's not an excuse, really. You know, we need to make the time and convince people to make the time for this, because when the next cycle comes and layoffs happen, we're going to have even fewer people to rely upon, you know. So that's my only concern, if you want. Other than that, I think I'm done. I don't have really anything else. Anyone that has any comments or suggestions or ideas, or before we close? Now we have a few minutes.
Yeah, Demetrius, regarding that last remark, I think if you're concerned about other people not coming in, we have to review whether we're actually going in the direction people are going, or whether drilling systems automation is not happening. It looks to me like it is happening. So who are the people that are doing it who aren't engaging, and how do we get engaged?
Yeah. I mean, in the last.
That's good. Yeah, Robert, that's a good question. When I think about the wellbore positioning technical section, you guys are really engaged with the people in the industry who are doing things, and you're producing output that they are using in their businesses. So it's a very good challenge.
Yeah, I think Fred has a comment. Go ahead, Fred.
I've been involved with Sella Drilling for some time, and if you're not familiar with it, this year they had just about 270 attendees, 90 from outside of Germany. They focus on land drilling in Europe. It's a good place to get some papers published if you're in this area. They're looking at automation, they're looking at geothermal. There's a number of places. Their program committee is looking for a couple of new members if you'd like to join. And they'll be putting the program on. Call for papers will go out after Christmas. The notice for the call for papers will go out just after New Year. And the program is held in Celle, Germany in September of each year. It's become a pretty good conference. I think you guys should take a look if you're interested.
It's become backing up Fred there, it's become a really good conference. And some of the papers presented there are, because you don't actually write a paper, you pretty much it's an abstract and a presentation. Really go way out on the technical limbs, if you like, and trying to push out. So it's really getting quite good.
So I would challenge the regional directors to be looking out at who else is doing things like that in their regions, and maybe suggesting our involvement in those just like that one. It's a good idea.
Demetrios, do we know the profile of membership against region? I seem to remember there was some kind of tabulation before.
There is. I didn't have it in this slide here, but there is. And the Middle East and North America are the two highest the most populous areas. 1 second. If I can stop my.
I think it's Saudi Arabia and the Gulf Coast section.
Yes, yes, and those are the two biggest ones, and then from there, it's like a bell curve kind of slowing down. South America has some, Asia, Africa is coming up. I don't remember the exact distribution, but it's a rather healthy distribution, I would say. It's not two areas dominating. The other areas are growing. We just need to reach out and engage those professionals and students, both of them.
Yeah, I guess one of the things is to engage with the industry people who are on the leading edge in probably North America, Europe, and maybe Saudi Arabia, and bring what they're doing to the people who are in the more remote locations who don't know, who are not heavily involved but want to know about it.
Yeah. I mean, now that we started this topic, being in one of the older sections, 15 years or all, that comes with some baggage. And, people have had maybe not very good experiences and they have been disappointed, and we have to deal with that and recover from that. And on the encouraging side, I see some people that have chosen to not participate in the past, slowly kind of giving a second chance, giving us a second chance and coming to some calls, and hopefully that will stick this time. And these people that are the actual practitioners, they will be willing to share more of what they are doing, and we need to stay relevant. I agree with the comments that we cannot just, be a platform for just discussion. We have to do things that people are interested in, and that's open. I mean, we're not dictating, we're not limiting anything for anybody from being discussed here. We're open to all topics, and people can define what we are working on, as long as they come in and they put it forward. If they don't come in, we cannot, randomly guess what people need. Anyway, I mean, it's a working challenge for all of us, I think. Anything else before we close, guys? I see Maury has another comment. Go ahead, Maury.
Yeah, I was just thinking, one of the charges to DSATS is the forward-looking piece. I think we looked at robotics a long time ago, and it was, wasn't really activities going on in our industry or our challenges, but really what was happening with robotics and mechatronics and technology like that. But I think it's really at the point where it's about to start hitting mainstream or becoming something that's realized in drilling and well construction with rig floor robotics. Particularly, there's Atom, there's Red Zone Robotics, there's ARC at Houston that have been doing some work with Transocean. I certainly think it would be a good thing to maybe host some forward-looking webinars, maybe just on what is it that we're doing with robotics? How does it actually work with the drilling automation system? Because certainly some of the discussions I've had around our office with one or two individuals who've seen the odd video is they don't really understand it very well and how it's used and what it's doing. So that might be something that we should consider if we want to reach out to one or two of these companies to give some kind of update.
Okay, thank you, Maury. John?
Yeah, just a quick comment on moving forward. I met Sashi at a workshop a couple of weeks ago, and we're talking about robotics and the future. And one thing that occurred to me is that geothermal drilling and the Department of Energy, and they have projects or works going on with student groups, right? Competitions, basically, around the country, and which they fund and set up, and student groups cooperate and so on, and compete. Very similar to robotics, and it might be an area we would think about moving robotics to try and get some support. And I talked to Sashi about doing it. I can reach out. I have contacts in there and through RPE and stuff, and see if they'd be willing to take it on. The problem is that it's a bunch of I call them kids with a lot of money. You tend to lose control of robotics very quickly unless we were very active in controlling how it went. Yeah, really enthusiastic people. I mean, just incredible to work with. But I think it might be a way to go. And then building on Murray's comment there with robotics, I completely agree. Yeah, and there's some stuff being done in university with robotics, which is really, really neat and quite outside the normal stream of humanoid robotics and stuff like that. So
yeah.
Might be a way to go. So with robotics, I don't know what Fred thinks, but
well, let's discuss it. I mean, when you get that,
I'm very curious. Very curious. If you don't subscribe to it, there's an IEEE newsletter that comes out that talks about sensors and robotics and all types of stuff. It's quite interesting. I'll try to find the link and send it to you.
Okay, very good.
But it's this is experimental stuff that's being done in laboratories and universities around the world. That's top of the line, and it's really an interesting read.
There was a presentation at the art conference last month about the work that offshore robotics and Transocean have been doing about riser, making up the riser connections with robots, how to make the bolts, to know where the nut is, where the bolt is, that the joints are aligned, all these challenges. It's not exactly drilling, like weld execution, but nevertheless is part of what people think in the broader sense, drilling automation. Very interesting presentation. And some of the details, the challenges that these guys faced, how when it's out there in the rain and the storm and everything, how the robot can know where the nut is and how to make it up. Do you need a camera? Do you need a sensing the force, the position? It's a little bit technical, the topic here I'm discussing, but nevertheless very interesting. I think it would trigger the interest of people.
That's a big interest, and I've seen a lot of people really hurt in this situation. So
yeah,
smashed, crushed. So yeah, this is a great topic.
Demetrios,
yeah.
I know the owner of ARC, and if you want me to, I can see if he would like to speak to us, or maybe he could put on a demonstration for us. So a bunch of people go over there and see his shop. I've been there, and it's very fascinating.
Yeah,
they put on like quarterly external demos pretty regularly, ARC. So I don't think it would be hard for them to set up, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
and they feed you a good breakfast.
It would be interesting for a bunch of us to visit. It would be even better if somehow makes all this accessible to younger people, students trying to attract interest. So if we can, let's talk to them and see what we can do, whether it's a face-to-face demo or something that can be online, so more people can access it. In any case, it's a benefit for the industry.
They could maybe sponsor David Gibson to put it online live.
We can help them put them together yeah.
Hey, I wondered, Demetrios, if it's the right time now with this kind of discussion to go out and do a survey of the membership, not something too complicated, but use the email, the SPE email, to ask a few key questions to ascertain what people want DSATS to do for them, and see what we get back. If it's open questions, but only a few, we could sort the feedback.
Yeah.
Or else it could be one of those selection monkey things, whatever it is. But
Yeah.
with those, you're tending to force people into certain areas without giving them the openness to say something that we look at and say, oh, we've completely missed that. So it's maybe something worth thinking about, because it would generate information for next year, for 2024.
Yes.
Hey, John, there's lots of tools available that go beyond SurveyMonkey, and we've got some of those available on the DOS side.
I mean, to the extent that we get feedback, I think it's a good idea to see what people are interested in. Typically, from those surveys, we get back, I think, 5 to 10% of the people that we reach out. But still, if we reach out to 2,000 people and we get back 200 responses, still that's useful. I'll follow up on that, John.
Okay.
Anything else? Any other comments before we close from anybody? Okay. I think we have we save a little bit of time. There isn't more to cover. Thank you very much, everybody, and talk to you next month at the community call. And before that, to remember, we need to fill the position for Tony in the board of directors. So if you have any names, any ideas, please reach out.
If Greg can keep the chat for you, there are some names that came up in the chat. There was a bit of discussion around it. So
I missed that. I haven't looked there.
No, I figured that. So there is some information in there if he can keep the chat for you, so you can look at what was put forward.
I think Robert suggested there had been a profile built previously of what's needed in terms of skill set. That would be useful to have again.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, everyone, and have a good the rest of your day, and we'll keep in contact. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
thanks to